On October 17, 1777, Britain didn't lose a battle. They lost an entire army. Nearly 6,000 men surrendered in a single afternoon. And the general in charge thought he was winning right up until the moment he wasn't. A British general walks across a muddy field in upstate New York and hands his sword to an American. Behind him stand the remains of one of the finest armies in the world. Now prisoners of war. They marched south from Canada expecting to crush a rebellion. Instead, the rebellion crushed them. By the following February, France signs a treaty of alliance with the United States. And the entire war changes forever. To understand how this happens, how the most powerful army on earth ends up handing over its sword in a cornfield, we have to go back to a winter of overconfidence in London. Early 1777, London believes the war is basically over. Washington's ragged troops are starving in New Jersey. Desertions are constant. Congress is broke. Britain has the most powerful military on earth. And Parliament assumes this rebellion is a tantrum about to burn itself out. So they draw up an elegant plan. 3 British armies converge on Albany, splitting the colonies in half and strangling New England. The man who lobbies hardest for command and wins it is Lieutenant General John Burgoyne, 54 years old, a playwright, a socialite, and absolutely convinced of his own genius. His troops call him Gentleman Johnny. He travels with a personal wine cellar and his mistress. He genuinely believes this single campaign will win the war and make him a national hero. In June 1777, Burgoyne assembles his invasion force in Canada, roughly 7,800 men. About half are British regulars. Another large portion are German mercenaries, rented out by their own princes to fight someone else's war. The rest is a mix of loyalist volunteers, Canadian militia, and several hundred Native American warriors. He drags along more than 130 cannons and a baggage train stretching for miles. This is an army built for a victory parade, not a wilderness campaign. The first phase goes almost too well. On July 6th, Burgoyne's forces capture Fort Ticonderoga without firing a shot. British artillery hauled to a nearby summit gives them a clear line straight down into the fort. And the American garrison flees in the night. King George reportedly burst into the Queen's chambers shouting he's beaten the Americans. Ticonderoga was supposed to be nearly impregnable. It fell in a day, but the fort wasn't the trap. The forest was, and Burgoyne is about to walk straight into it. Instead of the faster water route, Burgoyne pushes his army overland through 23 miles of dense forest. American General Philip Schuyler can't beat him in open battle, so he orders the countryside destroyed instead. Trees felled across every road, bridges burned, streams dammed into swamps. A 2-day march becomes a 3-week crawl. Every mile, Burgoyne's supply line back to Canada gets thinner. Every mile, more American militia gather in the trees around him. And then Burgoyne makes a mistake that has nothing to do with tactics. And it turns the entire countryside against him. In late July, Native American warriors allied with Burgoyne kill and scalp a young loyalist woman named Jane McCrea, waiting ironically to reunite with her fiancé in his own army. The story spreads through the colonies like wildfire. Men who'd been sitting on the fence grab their muskets and march north to fight. The alliance meant to terrorize the frontier into submission has just filled the American army with volunteers. By early August, Burgoyne is starving for supplies. He sends roughly 700 men toward Bennington to seize horses and cattle. Waiting for them instead is 2,000 furious New Hampshire and Vermont militia under General John Stark, who reportedly tells his men the Redcoats will be theirs by nightfall. Or Molly Stark sleeps a widow. The fighting is brutal and close. By nightfall, Burgoyne has lost nearly 1,000 men, an eighth of his army, in a single afternoon. For nothing, his army is bleeding out, and the 2 men who were supposed to save him are about to make it so much worse. The 3rd British column, meant to link up with him from the west, gets routed and retreats to Canada. Then the news arrives that should have ended the campaign right there. General Howe, the man supposed to march north and meet Burgoyne at Albany, isn't coming. He sailed south to take Philadelphia instead. No reinforcements, no retreat route, no word from London that means anything now. Burgoyne is completely alone, deep in hostile territory, and he still doesn't turn back. A prudent commander retreats to Ticonderoga and waits. Burgoyne crosses the Hudson River instead, cutting off his own line of retreat behind him. The decision looks bold on a map, but on the ground, it is almost a death sentence. Every wagon now has to move farther from safety. Every wounded soldier becomes another burden, and every mile south gives the Americans more time to gather. The British army isn't marching toward victory anymore. It's marching toward a shrinking circle. If you're wondering how an empire this powerful walks into a trap this obvious, stick around. Because what happens next at Saratoga is the moment the entire war turns. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. By mid-September, Burgoyne is south of the Hudson near Saratoga, facing the entire American Northern Army dug in on a fortified hill called Bemis Heights. General Horatio Gates now commands up to 15,000 men. Swollen by militia pouring in after Bennington, Burgoyne has fewer than 6,000, outnumbered better than 2 to 1. He attacks anyway. September 19th, Freeman's farm. Burgoyne's columns run straight into Benedict Arnold, the most aggressive field commander in the Continental Army, and a man locked in a bitter feud with Gates over credit and rank. Arnold talks Gates into sending Daniel Morgan's riflemen forward to meet the British in the open. For nearly 4 hours, the two sides tear each other apart. Morgan's men pick off officers with terrifying accuracy. The British charge and retake ground again and again. By nightfall, Britain technically holds the field, at a cost of nearly 600 casualties against 300 American losses. It's the kind of victory that destroys an army. 18 days of agony follow. Burgoyne waits for reinforcements that never come, for supplies that don't exist. Raiding parties pick off sentries in the dark. Rations shrink, then shrink again. Horses eat bark. Loyalists desert. The Native American warriors quietly vanish into the forest. And Burgoyne's army is running out of everything: food, ammunition, time. Most importantly, hope. Burgoyne still drinks his champagne at dinner, but outside his headquarters, the men are counting their remaining rations and wondering whether they will ever make it back to Canada. The army that entered New York with confidence is now trapped by the very wilderness it thought it could conquer. Burgoyne still has one option: attack. And on October 7th, he plays his last card. It's about to be decided by a man who isn't even supposed to be on the battlefield. Burgoyne sends 2,500 men to probe the American left. It's the Battle of Bemis Heights, and it's where the campaign dies. Gates orders a full counterattack. The British center buckles, and in the middle of the chaos, Benedict Arnold, formerly relieved of command after a screaming match with Gates, gallops onto the field against direct orders, rallying units, leading charges, like a man who no longer cares if he lives. He leads the assault that breaks the key German position anchoring the British right. His horse is shot from under him. The fall shatters his leg. Among the British dead is General Simon Fraser, shot from his saddle at an estimated 300 yards while trying to hold the collapsing line together. The British right flank unravels. Burgoyne's army retreats through darkness and rain. There is nowhere left to go. Surrounded, starving, cut off from Canada, abandoned by Howe. He holds out 10 more days, but those 10 days change nothing. His men dig trenches. They wait. They listen, and slowly, they realize there is no rescue coming. On October 17, 1777, he walks across that muddy field and surrenders his entire army, nearly 6,000 men, to the Americans at Saratoga. The surrender isn't just the end of a campaign. It's the moment Britain loses the initiative in North America. The news reaches Paris by December. France, watching for proof the Americans could actually win, gets it. In February 1778, the Treaty of Alliance is signed. French money, French weapons, French troops, and eventually French ships. Now Britain isn't fighting a rebellion anymore. It's fighting a global war. A colonial uprising has become an international conflict, and the victory at Saratoga is the reason France finally decides the Americans are worth betting on. Britain never fully recovers the initiative it lost in that muddy field. Everyone remembers Yorktown. Almost nobody talks about the battle that helped make Yorktown possible. Saratoga didn't end the American Revolution, but it changed what the revolution could become. It proved the Americans could defeat a major British army. It convinced France to gamble on American independence. And it transformed a rebellion Britain expected to crush into a war Britain could no longer easily win. If you want the Turning Points textbook skip, subscribe. That's this whole channel.